Yo, what's good everyone? Today I'm going to be taking a first look here at this Week 18 NFL DraftKings main slate. Let's dive right into it. And like I always do here in these videos, I'm going to go position by position, highlighting the plays that are sticking out to me here early in the week, and then we'll wrap up this video by putting together a first look cash lineup and a first look tournament lineup. With that being said, let's kick it off here at the quarterback position. Looking right at the top here now, I do believe, and this is Week 18 here, right? There's so much uncertainty heading into this week. We have some teams who are fighting for playoff spots, some teams who are fighting for seeding, and other teams who have nothing to play for. So we kind of fill those things out as the week progresses. Make sure you do tune in to my final cash plays and tournament video at the end of this week. I'll post those on Friday, but I'm just going to approach this slate here like I normally do, assuming that everybody's pretty much going to play. With that being said here, now we're going to dive into the quarterbacks, and I do like Jaden Daniels here at this price of $7,800. He has been balling out as of late. Move my head there, 32, 28, 23, 36, and 35 DraftKings points in his last 5 games. Really good spot there to expand on that as well against the Dallas Cowboys. So I do believe that he's going to be in play. I really like Baker at this price of $7,000 as well. Been playing some really good football really all year long, but the Buccaneers are still fighting for their playoff lives right now. They have not clinched a seed. They got Atlanta right on their tail, but if they win, they are in. So I do expect them to do that here at home against the New Orleans Saints. Like Baker there, and then scrolling down just a little bit off of that, dipping into the 5K range here. We know that the Chargers are still fighting for some playoff seeding as well. My guess is they really want that 5th seed to play the Houston Texans, who are the 4th seed right now, so I expect them to play their starters in the full game. Good matchup there against the Raiders as well, and playing indoors. And then one other quarterback that I wanted to highlight here, who really doesn't have anything to play for when it comes to playoffs, but when it comes to incentives, this guy is loaded with incentives heading into Week 18. If he has over 186 passing yards, he wins a $2 million bonus, and if they win this game, getting 10 wins on the season, he gets another $2 million bonus. So Geno Smith has $4 million worth of bonuses that he's playing for here in Week 18, and I like this spot against the Rams, who probably won't be playing their starters, at a good price of $5,500. Now moving on to the running backs here, and I'm not entirely sure we are going to see Saquon play here this week, but boy, would it be poetic if he could break the rushing record, break Eric Dickerson's record against his former team here against the New York Giants. I know there's people out there going to go, oh, he had one extra game. Who cares? That's the way the NFL is now. We have an extra game to play with, and Saquon has a chance to break that record. Now, I would actually be surprised if Saquon plays a full game here. The Eagles have nothing to play for. They're locked into their playoff seeding. But you never know. He could very well go for that record if he wanted to. $8,600 there again against his former team. Now, really, I'm kind of looking at Bucky Irving and above and going, all of these guys are in tremendous spots. Josh Jacobs here against the Bears. Jonathan Taylor, who's just been tremendous in his last 2 games. 42 and 30 DraftKings points. Really good spot there against the Jacksonville defense. And then Bijan, who's been playing some really good football. Best spot of the world against this Carolina Panthers defense, who cannot stop the run to save their lives. But if I had to just pick one of these guys here based off of the situational play heading into Week 18, it's going to be Bucky Irving going up against the New Orleans Saints. Love the volume he's been getting as the starter, not only in the rushing game, but continuing to get work in the passing game as well. So $7,700, he's going to be a cash game consideration as well as a tournament consideration. I think Devon Achane is an interesting play as well. Would love if Tua played here, but either way, Miami is still fighting for a playoff spot, so I believe that he's going to see a full workload, and we know his involvement in the passing game, just tremendous. Basically a wide receiver, even though he is a running back. Scrolling down a little bit off of that, I do like J.K. Dobbins here. I think he needs like 56 or 58 yards to get a bonus himself. I believe it's just $150,000 or $250,000 bonus. He's not in the Geno Smith realm of bonuses, but overall good price here and a good matchup at $6,300. Isaac Guerrero. Now, the 49ers have nothing to play for here. Brock Purdy did get banged up in last night's game against the Lions, but it doesn't sound too serious, and he is fighting for a contract himself. I believe Guerrero Rendo should get a decent workload here in a good matchup against Arizona's rushing defense, who cannot stop the run. We saw what Chuba Hubbard did to them just a couple of weeks ago. So $5,900, I do like him, but the 49ers are a team we're going to need to keep an eye on. They very well could not play their starters heading into the final week. And then Rico Dowdle here at $5,800, another guy who's just getting a lot of work right now. The Cowboys don't have anything to play for, but assuming he's a full go, $5,800, I do like that price there too. Now moving on to the wide receivers here. As you all know, I kind of break these into two different tiers, and I'm kind of looking at tier 1 right now with Brian Thomas Jr. and above, and then tier 2 is probably Courtland Sutton and above. I'm probably going to eliminate a few of those guys when it comes to my final player pool, but overall, my favorite top tier plays here at the wide receiver position are going to be Mike Evans this week. Not only is he fighting for a playoff spot, but you can see there, he's just 85 yards away from getting to 1,000 yards again, I believe for the 11th or 12th straight season. Either way, he's going for that, he's going for the win, and Baker is going to target the hell out of him, which he pretty much does week in and week out, but that's my favorite top-tier play. And then Brian Thomas Jr., I know Jacksonville isn't fighting for anything right now, but double-digit targets week in and week out, that is translated to some really good DraftKings numbers there. $7,300, I believe he's in play against a horrible Indianapolis defense. We saw what Drew Lock and the New York Giants did to them just last weekend, 4 touchdowns and over 350 passing yards. Just absolutely ridiculous if you're a Colts player. Scrolling down a little bit off of that, I like Ladd McConkey here. As I mentioned when talking about Justin Herbert, the Chargers still fighting for some playoff seeding right now. He has truly been tremendous as a rookie. Broke 1,000 yards there, 77 receptions and 7 touchdowns. And then, like I said earlier, I like Courtland Sutton. Kind of think he's a tier 2 player. Broncos are still fighting to get into the playoffs themselves, and he's pretty much locked into 7+ targets week in and week out. Now, scrolling down a little bit off of that, I do like Adam Thielen here. Really doesn't have anything to play for, but a good spot there against Atlanta. I really like JSN and DK Metcalf. You can see JSN there at 61, DK Metcalf at $5,600. We'll build a tournament lineup at the end here that focuses in on that Seattle stack. We'll do a double stack with Geno, JSN, and DK Metcalf there. Anybody else here in that range that I like? Not really. Let's scroll a little bit off of that. I do like Josh Downs and Michael Pittman here, assuming that we're going to get Joe Flacco to start here in Week 18. Sounds like Anthony Richardson could play, but he's battling some back spasms right now. Assuming that it's Joe Flacco, really good spot there against Jacksonville. It's a really good spot if AR-15 plays too, but we all know he doesn't throw the ball as much. And then I do want to talk about Jalen McMillan here again. Got a price bump up from $4,600 last week, but for all the right reasons. You can see his game log there over the last 4, 22, 18.5, 16.7, 23 DraftKings points. A guy who's pretty much locked into 5 to 7 targets as of late too. So again, with Tampa fighting for their playoff lives right now, Baker's going to get the ball in his best weapon's hands, and McMillan has been that as of late. Now, when it comes to the tight ends this week, I can't say I'm in love with the top tier options. Brock Bowers is still fighting for some rookie records right now. You got Malik Neighbors, who's right on his tail when it comes to the rookie reception record, so I might sprinkle him in some tournaments. Jonnu Smith, I wouldn't mind that if Tua plays, but honestly, everyone, I'm looking in the low 4K range and the 3K range here when it comes to tight ends. The ones that stuck out to me were Zach Ertz. He's got, I believe, 2 or 3 incentives that he's playing for here this week, plus Washington kind of fighting for some playoff seeding, I believe, too. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure, but needless to say, we could see Washington play their starters here this week. If they don't play, I like Chigo Okonkwo here. Talked about him last week, 10, 11, and 7 targets in his last 3 games, hitting 13, 19, and 10 DraftKings points. I'll take that considering the price there. And then one other guy that I wanted to highlight was Tucker Kraft at $3,700. The volume hasn't been great as of late, but he is pretty good with the ball in his hands after the catch. And if he just so happens to get 5 targets in this game against Chicago, he could have a nice day. And then when it comes to the defenses here this week, I had 2 that stuck out to me. First being the Denver Broncos at $3,000. I'd be surprised if we see the Kansas City Chiefs play their starters here this week, at least their star players, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Chris Jones. If they play, it's probably 1 quarter, 2 quarters max. And again, the Denver Broncos are still fighting for the playoffs right now. They've been a relatively good defense all year long, and they are playing at home. So I like them at that price of $3,000. And then the Chicago Bears here at $2,300, assuming the Green Bay Packers don't play their starters. Now, the Packers are in a similar situation to the Washington Commanders to where they probably don't need to play their starters, could give them some rest heading into the playoffs, but they're also fighting for a little playoff seeding right now. So we need to keep an eye on really this entire situation heading into Week 18, but assuming the Packers don't play their starters, I think the Bears are fine there at $2,300. Alright everyone, now let's put together a first look cash lineup here, but before we do that, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. It's completely free to do, and every like, comment, and sub that you guys leave truly does help me out. Plus, I do want to mention here, I run a free Discord channel as well. If you want to join that, there's a link to do so in the description below, as well as in the pinned comment below. We have over 850 people in there talking multiple sports for DFS, but primarily NFL and NHL. With that being said, now let's build this cash lineup here. We're starting it off at the quarterback position, and honestly, everyone, I think there's far too many incentives to ignore here with Geno Smith playing the Los Angeles Rams, who might not play their starters here in Week 18. When it comes to the running back, I think we have to lock in Bucky Irving here. And then initially, I'm going to go with a little cheaper running back in Isaac Guerrero. I know the 49ers, we need to keep an eye on them. Really don't have anything to play for here this week, but assuming he's a full go, it's a really good spot there against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, when it comes to the wide receivers, I'm going to lock in McConkey. Let's put in Sutton as well, and let's save a little money here with Jalen McMillan. 3 guys who are all fighting for playoffs this week, and all guys who should see 5, 6, 7 plus targets in this game. Now, when it comes to the tight end, I'm going to need to save a little money here, but let's stick with the theme here of playing guys who have something to play for. We'll go Zach Ertz there, and then the defense, let's put in the Broncos. So it's 5,500 left over. We can't get to Rico Dowdle, but we could go with one of those wide receivers for the Indianapolis Colts. Again, assuming that Joe Flacco's going to play. Let's go with Pittman here. He was slightly better last week, $5,200. Yeah, $300 left over to play with a little bit, but for a first look cash lineup, I honestly don't mind that. And now my favorite part of the video here, putting together a first look tournament lineup. And again, we're going to build a lineup around Geno Smith here again. So I'm kind of glad it worked out this way, giving you an idea of what a cash lineup would look like and what a tournament lineup would look like, sticking with the same quarterback. So let's go with Geno Smith here. We're going to stack him up with his top 2 pass catchers and JSN and DK Metcalf. Very affordable, to be honest. You usually don't get your top 2 wide receivers that affordable. Where the hell are you? $5,600. Okay, let's go back to the running backs now. I'm going to put in J.K. Dobbins here, being that he has something to play for. And then let's put in Rico Dowdle here as well, assuming that he's going to get another full workload at $5,800. Right now, I'm going to put in Courtland Sutton here. Kind of want to stick with the idea of playing guys who have something to play for. We'll go with Ertz as well when it comes to the tight end. Again, kind of building a similar cash lineup with a tournament style to it. Defense, we're going to go with the Bears. Save some money. And then that gives us $8,000 to pay up for basically whoever we wanted to. So we could go with Mike Evans here, which, yes, that's what we're going to do. But there's a handful of different routes that we could go with $8,000. Mike Evans just so happens to have incentives to play for this week and a playoff spot. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that.